Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing. 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 Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing. Oh, I know, she's so cute. Hello, Renee. No, I don't think so. It was too short notice. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3.
Did we get this camera set up for?
I don't know.
So a couple of things that are a little bit different, Val. So when we do Shoshinge, you're not supposed to do Sambujo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then
Testing.
silent meditation,
1, 2, 3.
before we do
Testing.
Shinshuka,
Testing.
Kainen's going to do a Gobuncho reading.
Testing.
Okay.
So write that. Gobuncho.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Okay. So that would go right after. Right.
Okay. I have my cheat
Oh.
sheet too. So.
Yeah. So right after quiet sitting.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
Which?
Where is this one?
Testing 1, 2, 3.
I need this camera.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Is this input too? It doesn't show on here.
No, that would be input 2.
So, if I want to.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Which one are you on?
Lav.
Do that again.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Much better.
Do that again.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
But that's right at the. You're almost all the way in the top. Is that?
Kainen, did you check your Gobuncho book?
Yeah, I checked it in there. It's to the right page.
Yeah.
Shonin Ichigo.
Yeah. It all, whatever, taped in there or whatever.
Yeah, it's taped in the book already. And then, since I switched the microphone
Okay,
because that one wasn't picking up.
So are you on minister?
I should be. Testing. Can you turn it up? Testing, yeah. Oh, not that. I don't think. Testing, 1, 2, testing. Yeah, that's good. Thank you.
Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. That's good.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for venturing out on this very chilly Sunday morning. And I will be the MC for today. Assisting me with audio visual is Dr. David Major. Thanks, David. Today is a special Sunday. Not only is it our monthly memorial or Shotsuki service, but we are also observing Nirvana Day. The historical Buddha, Shakyamuni Buddha, lived 2,500 years ago, and on Nirvana Day, we commemorate the Buddha's passing. Shotsuki is to honor friends, family, and temple members who have passed away during the month of February. With this in mind, let us open our hearts and minds to receive the teachings of the Buddha and begin the service with silent meditation or seiza. So if you'll just sit comfortably, put your hands together, palms together, and silent meditation will begin and end with the sound of the gong. Sensei, onegai shimasu. Reverently, we come before the shrine of Amida Buddha. With gratitude, we have brought our offering of love and devotion to honor him. We earnestly resolve to strive to understand his holy teachings and walk every day in his blessed path so that, like him, we may attain the peace of nirvana. Namo Amida. Namo Amida. Namo Amida. Today we have a special treat. Kainen Ono, Sensei Kainen, will do a reading from the Gobonshu. Sensei?
So before Kainen goes, I'll just explain it. This is a reading written by the 8th Monshu, or abbot leader of our school of Buddhism. He wrote it around 600 AD. 1200 AD. So his name was Renyo Shonin, and he was considered the resurrector of Jodo Shinshu Buddhism. So Jodo Shinshu Buddhism became very popular, but then the popularity declined. And then when Renyo came around, he actually did a number of things to repopularize Buddhism, Jodo Shinshu in particular. And so the population in Japan after he passed away, about 75% of the population in Japan were considered Jodo Shinshu. So this reading that Kainen's going to be reading is done in a very traditional style. It's part of his training. He has to be able to do this perfectly, so we'll see how he does.
証人一流のご関係の趣は新人のもておんとせられそのゆえはもろもろの造業を投げ捨てて一心に乱に君をすれば不可思議の眼力として文の偏りを情は事情せしめたもそのくらいを一年簿記女少女四十とも釈しその家の所名念ぶった如来我がお嬢を定め玉石ご恩法人の念仏を心べきなりあなかしこあなかしこ
So as Kainan is returning the Gobuncho book, I'll read it in English so that people understand what he chanted. So Shonin Ichiryu-sho, or the tradition of Shinran Shonin. What is taught in the tradition of Shinran Shonin is that the entrusting heart is essential. For when we abandon various practices and take refuge in Amida with singleness of heart, our birth in the Pure Land is settled by the Buddha through his inconceivable vow. The state we thus attain is described as with awakening of a single thought of entrusting. We join those who are in the stage of the truly settled. Recitation of the Nembutsu, or Namamida Butsu, thereafter should be understood to be the Nembutsu as an expression of gratitude for the Tathagata or the Buddha's benevolence, for settling our birth in the Pure Land, humbly and respectfully, Ryonen Shonin. Well, thanks, Kainan. That was well done.
Thank you, Kainan. That was beautiful and very soothing. Our first gatha this morning will be Shinshu Shuka. The words will appear on the screens at the front, so please rise if you are able. Thank you. You may be seated. The sutra chanting this morning will be Shoshinge, and during the chanting, people observing Shotsuki are invited to offer incense, as well as other temple members. We will do this row by row, so if you could follow the directions of Harry Sugimoto. Sensei, onegai shimasu.
Thanks, Val. Just an explanation of Shoshinge. Shoshinge is the content is really the essential teachings of Jodo Shinshu, so our school of Buddhism. So it talks about the major teachings of the Buddha, but it also talks about our 7 masters. And so there is an English translation in the book. I don't know how many people have the booklet, but if you'd like to see the English translation, it's in there. And just a warning, the echo, so it's the last 4 lines that we do. I'm going to do it in the traditional Shoshinge style, not the one that we do every Sunday, but a little bit different. So maybe see if you can pick up on that. Namandats, 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 namandats.
No, 一年
喜愛心不断煩悩徳涅槃凡上学法再永入領主死入海一味摂取信仰上昇後意の薄い波無明暗都内心臓死運無上不真実信心天非尿に興奮無運無しげ妙無安逆心謙虚大狂気即応超絶合悪種一切全幕本部に門心如来偶然が仏言広大小慶者善人妙分断理慶弥陀仏本元年仏邪見狂慢なく修上信行十字人に難中死難昔インド祭天子論下中華自治意気思考層現代小公税小位妙如来本税大き釈迦如来両合戦一種五妙な天竺龍樹大自主統制質の在派有無権先絶大乗無情報召喚議事小安楽賢治南行六六信行異行指導楽億年弥陀仏本願次年即人入筆上唯の上昇如来語応報大悲偶税音天神菩薩増論説奇妙無下光如来越衆たら見真実後世の超大勢がこういう本願力へこ移動群上昇一心記入功徳大崩壊筆逆入大へ収集特使蓮華創世界 即生信用法生人有本の林現人図入生寺恩寺王下本師道南両天使上高蘭消防殺来三蔵ルシ十条行凡上専業気楽法天神菩薩論中下報道因果見世願大言猫ゆたり少女死有信心惑前本部信心没承知承知即涅槃一心無量光明道小修上回復家同社結晶道南朝唯名浄土活入万全自力変言宗円満特語感染症三不三神慶音言増末法滅道品一生増悪地偶然思案妖怪称名化全道道名仏性意後輩上三洋学悪光明明語経年介入本願内地会行者小樹今後心表記一年総合よい来と約三人即所法所市上楽原神公開一大経有変気義安女開祭先祖死有心反先人法華二道小弁理由極十悪人唯小仏 薬剤費摂取しうもの証言水不言大無限上昇が本資源苦妙無形連未然幕文部人新宗教書公編集戦弱本願愚悪性現内生じ輪廻下決知義上一生し即入弱上無意ら非知信心いのにゆ愚教大事終始問う上際無変極上悪同族自主愚老心有意か心知こそ説ナマンナブナマンナブナマンナブナマンナブナマンナブナマンナブがんにしくどく平等不正祭道恩母大心お上安楽ナマンダムツナマンダツナマンダツナマンダツナマンダ。
Now we'll have the recitations, golden chain and 6 paramitas. So please rise if you're able. Golden chain. I am a link in Amida Buddha's golden chain of love that stretches around the world. In gratitude, may I keep my link bright and strong. I will try to be kind and gentle to every living thing and protect all who are weaker than myself. I will try to think pure and beautiful thoughts, to say pure and beautiful words, and to do pure and beautiful deeds. May every link in Amida Buddha's golden chain of love be bright and strong, and may we all attain perfect peace. Now the 6 paramitas. Number 1, giving or dana. I shall be kind and helpful to others. Number 2, discipline or sila. I shall follow the precepts of the Buddha. Number 3, patience or khasanti. I shall be patient and understanding. Number 4, endeavor or vira. I shall do my best in all things. Number 5, meditation or dhyana. I shall reflect on the teachings of the Buddha. Number 6, wisdom or prajna. I shall seek the light of wisdom. Now, if you'll remain standing, we'll sing our second gatha, May Peace Prevail.
Let peace live as we talk, with kindness in our voice, embraced in Buddha's light. May peace, tranquility prevail throughout the world. Let peace live as with eyes that self-reflect, to always light our way. Let peace, tranquility prevail throughout the world. Let peace live as we help, with rays of gratitude, connecting hearts and hands. May peace, tranquility prevail throughout the world. Let's talk with everyone. Let's learn from everyone. Lend help to everyone. And peace, tranquility prevail throughout the world. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.
Thank you. You may be seated. Now I'll call upon Sensei Roland for his Dharma message. Sensei, onigai shimasu.
Amira, Alistair, Destiny. Destiny, aren't you so happy that someone showed up? No pressure, Asha, but... and Yusan, do you want your kids to come up? Is that okay? I'll give a short Dharma talk for the kids. Amira, are you going to sit in there? Thanks. Oh, good job, you guys. Okay, so... Woo. Hi, Destiny. Thanks for coming. And the boys. So I want to talk to you about what's happening not next Sunday, but the Sunday... Sorry? Valentine's? Valentine's is coming up really soon. Yeah, you're right. Absolutely. I have to... Can you try and... Alistair, you remind me, okay? Because I have to get a present for Brenda. I always forget, so... So can you call me? Okay. So I want to talk to you guys about this. So today's a special service. Do you know how you can tell it's a special service? You're right. I have my bib on. Yeah, bib, yeah. We sort of call it a bib, but it's called a gojo gesa. Can you guys say that? Gojo gesa? A bib is for babies, you're right. Yeah, it's not a bib. Okay, so you guys, do you see these cards up here? Do you know what those cards are? Sorry? No, they're not Valentine's cards, so that's a good guess. These are called homyo, and these are all of the people, or some of the people, who've passed away who used to be part of our temple before. So there's a lot of people. Yeah, and can you see, there's some pictures. Do you see the pictures? Yeah, so those are the people who passed away. So I'm going to show you a couple of them. So that's my father-in-law. His name was Yoichi. And that's Brenda's uncle Danny, and that's Brenda's uncle Tak. Oh, okay. So I'm going to show you guys this. Okay. So, they all passed away. I know, it's sad.
And also, great uncle, he said he gave me a treasure map, and a treasure by Spanish glass, and a dry glass.
Yes. So not next week, but the week after, we're going to do a treasure hunt. But we're also going to do a special service to remember not the people who passed away, but we're going to remember our pets. Yes. So you guys can show them. Destiny, you had a pet here, right? What was your pet's name? Your stuffy. Teddy?
No, Ozzy.
Ozzy. Okay.
Also, I
And Amira, do you have a stuffy here? Okay, so in 2 weeks, we're going to remember our pets. Okay, so I'm going to bring a picture of my pet Pepper. Hello. And so can you guys remember to bring pictures of your pets? Can you remember to bring your stuffy?
This is Fluff Fluff.
Yeah. Okay, I think I've lost them. So do you guys want to go to the Dharma classroom? And Brenda's going to do a special lesson for you. Give me 5. All right. All right. Thank you very much, you guys.
I think Baby has
Yeah.
a big one.
All right. We'll see you guys. Okay, Alistair, have fun in there, okay? Bye. That's so cute. Brenda says I have to figure out how to keep their attention, but I think it's more fun this way, actually, honestly. Okay, so I'm going to get people to please put your hands together in Gassho. Put your palms together as I read a passage. Behold, old monks, this is my last advice. Conditions are subject to ceaseless change. Strive. Take care to gain your own salvation. Be a light unto yourself. Namami Nabats. Namami Nabats. Namami Nabats. Thank you. So has anybody heard those words before? Is it familiar to anybody? I know, Renee, you know. Has anybody else heard those words? Or do you know where it came from? Anybody besides Renee? No? So those words were the last words spoken by the historical Buddha 2,600 years ago, right? There's various versions of it, but basically the content is very similar. Okay? So today we're not only observing Shotsuki, which is the monthly memorial service, as I said, for all the people who've passed away in February. And this is a difficult month for my mom and my aunt, because my father-in-law, Yoichi, passed away this month. Uncle Danny passed away, and then Tak passed away last year. So February is a tough month. And it's interesting because we collect the homios, so some people take them home, some people leave them here. But February is always the thickest month. We have the most homios, so I'm not sure why that is. But other people in our temple have passed away in the month of February, so looking up at the homyos, and I think it's a good practice for us to actually look at the homyos. So Norris Taguchi, Sam Konosu passed away last year, and Hisato Shimozawa. So there's many of our temple members who have passed away in February, and it's sort of sad to think about that. But today we're also observing Nirvana Day, or Paranirvana Day, which is the proper term for it. So Paranirvana Day is the day that the historical Buddha actually passed away and went into the Pure Land. And David, thank you. Okay, so I'm going to show you a few slides just to talk about it a little bit. So this is a map of India. How many people have been to India? Yeah, I mean, I know Donna and John, we went together, so that was nice, and Sylvia too. So that's a map of India in the bottom corner, and then the square is the section that's in the bigger part of the map. So Lumbini, where he was born, Sarnath, where he gave his first Dharma lesson, Bodh Gaya, where he got enlightened. That's a pretty cool place. If you ever go to India, you have to go to Bodh Gaya. And then the fourth place is Kushinagar in red, and Kushinagar is the place where the Buddha passed away 2,600 years ago. So he passed away at the age of 80. So 2,600 years ago was ancient, right? So not anybody lived to the age of 80. So he was really a very old man. And he knew that his health was deteriorating, so he tried to prepare his disciples for the fact that he was going to pass away. So he was traveling back to the capital of that empire at that time, called Kapilavastu, and he stopped at a place called Kushinagar. And he was going to give a big Dharma message there, but before the Dharma message was given, before the service, there was a man by the name of Kunda Kamarputa. He was a blacksmith, anyways, Kunda, and he said, I'm going to throw a big banquet for all the Buddha and all of his disciples. So he threw a big banquet, and unfortunately, he fed the Buddha tainted meat, so tainted pork. And so the Buddha ended up with dysentery, and he died from food poisoning, basically. So that's the way that story goes. The interesting thing is the second last Dharma talk that the Buddha gave was to relieve Kunda of his guilt. So in his Dharma talk, he thanked Kunda for giving him his last meal and for helping him get to Nirvana, or the Pure Land, right? So that's a picture of the temple at Kushinagar. We had an opportunity to visit it. It's a beautiful temple. Lots and lots of visitors. That's another temple. So surrounding the main temple, there's about half a dozen really nice temples from other countries. I think this was from Thailand. And then also in Kushinagar, there's a stupa. So the stupa is a site that King Ashoka built, and inside of that stupa, they found relics of the Buddha. And they've actually carbon dated it, and they believe that at least the tooth is very likely the Buddha's tooth. It's no longer under there, but it's actually at the main museum in New Delhi. And inside that temple, there is a lying Buddha. So if you see a lying Buddha statue, that indicates that he's passing on, that he's going to paranirvana or nirvana. And the interesting thing is, it's a gold statue, beautiful. It's quite large, as you can see. But when we were there, different people from different communities would come. And one of the favorite things to do is to bring a blanket for the Buddha, because the Buddha is actually not covered and he's lying down. And so these people, like from Vietnam and Sri Lanka and other places, they'll bring a blanket and they'll drape the blanket over the Buddha, which is a really nice gesture to try and help them settle. And these were the last words. So it's written in a Mahaparinirvana Sutra, so a sutra that came from the Buddha, but the last words are said to be, "Behold, old monks, this is my last advice. Conditions are subject to ceaseless change. Strive. Take care to gain your own salvation. Be a light unto yourself." And then the story is that the beings from all over the world, so real animals and mystical animals, and all the beings, the humans, the devils, the ghosts, they all came to wish the Buddha goodbye and good luck in his next life. or in the Pure Land. So as I mentioned, those were his last words. Behold, old monks, this is my last advice. Conditions are subject to ceaseless change. Strive, take care to gain your own salvation. Be a light unto yourselves. So what do these last words mean? So the first part of it, behold, old monks, this is my last advice. Conditions are subject to ceaseless change. He's talking about the fact that we know that life is impermanent, that none of us are going to be alive together, that life is constantly changing, and he was referring to the fact that he was going to pass away. So he was saying to all of his followers, I'm going to be passing away, and that's just a natural condition of life, that we all will change and we will all pass away. Okay? And so it reminds us to embrace impermanence. We have to develop a good sense of gratitude, a sense of gratitude for the time that we have. So take advantage and be grateful for every moment that you have today and while you're still living, because we all know that that's not going to last forever. And then his next words, which were strive, take care to gain your own salvation or own enlightenment, he was really encouraging his disciples to make sure that they continued to try to gain enlightenment for themselves, right? I mean, that is the principal goal for Buddhism, is to gain enlightenment, so through meditation or practice or whatever, right? And then his last words are probably quite famous, and they're really interesting because he said, be a light unto yourself. Be a light unto yourself. And what did he mean by that? Be a light unto yourself? Basically, what he was trying to say is find the path for yourself, your own spiritual path. Don't necessarily trust anybody to feed you the truth. Find the truth for yourself. That's what he was trying to say. So he said, even don't trust the Buddha. Don't trust me. Don't just blindly follow what I have to say, but try to find your own path, your own spiritual path. So I want to tell you a little bit about the importance of self-reliance in a story. So this story actually comes from the teachings of the Buddha, but I'll see if I can do it justice. So there was a small village at the edge of a dense forest, and there was a young man who lived there. His name was Arun. And Arun was a little bit lazy. He had a tendency to depend on everybody to do things for him. So he depended on the neighbors, he depended on his family and his friends. So whether it meant getting food, he would rely on his family, shelter, he lived in his parents' old house, and even decisions about his everyday life. He was went to everybody for advice, right? What should I do about this? What should I do about that? So every little thing, he was dependent on people. So he never learned to stand on his own. Does anybody know anybody like that? I don't. But he was always looking for others for guidance and direction, right? So one day, a storm swept through the village, and the river overflowed the village, so there was a flood, right? And all the houses were damaged. And Arun's family and all of his friends, they were too busy trying to put their own lives back together, so they couldn't really help Arun, right? So they didn't have any time to help him, and so he was a little bit lost. But as he was walking through the forest, he saw two types of trees, right? So there was a mighty oak, a huge oak tree, and then there was a grove of bamboo, right? Bamboo. And through that storm, which do you think survived? The bamboo or the oak? So what he found was that the oak tree had been split into two and had crashed, but the bamboo groves, all of the bamboo were still standing, right? So he learned a lesson from that. He realized that survival wasn't about relying on the external strength, but adapting and finding an inner resilience. So the bamboo was much more resilient than the mighty oak, right? So he gathered the bamboo, he wove it into a small shelter, and he learned to find food for himself, and he learned to be independent. So he not only survived, but he actually thrived from that point, being able to sort of look after himself, not having to rely on everybody else. So months later, when he returned to the village, Arun was no longer the dependent boy he once was, but he learned to trust his own abilities, right? He learned to bend with life's challenges, like the bamboo, rather than break like the mighty oak. And from that day on, Arun lived with confidence, knowing that the true strength comes from within himself. So when the Buddha said, be a lamp unto yourself, I think he was getting at this point, right? So that, yes, it's good for us to rely on others and to have support from our Sangha and all our friends and family. But it's also good to find our own spiritual path, our own way. So that ultimately we must find our own path and understand that strength comes from within. So when I was thinking about this Dharma talk, I'm going to take a little tangent if that's okay. I thought about something, and so I'm going to add it to my Dharma talk if you don't mind. So how many people know about the tariffs that Trump has imposed? Everybody's been hearing about it in the news and worried about it. How many people think that that's just a horrible thing that is happening to us? How many think it's a good thing? No? Harry does. Yeah, thanks, Harry. I'm glad that there's someone who has a different opinion. So I was thinking about what's happening, and I tried to understand, well, how does it make sense? Like, it's going to hurt us, clearly. Our economy is going to probably go down. We're going to lose many jobs because of the tariffs being brought in. So I tried to understand, well, what is it from maybe the US perspective or the economics perspective? How does it make sense? And so I listened to a fellow by the name of Oren Cass. Oren Cass is a leading economist in the US. He's one of the people who are really advising Trump that these tariffs are a good thing for the US. Okay? He is the chief economist for a think tank called American Compass. And they're quite influential in terms of getting Trump's ear. Okay? So he said that, yes, the tariffs will hurt both Canada and the US in the short term. But he feels very strongly that economically it's a necessity, that they have to do it. So he talked about the fact that in the Reagan era, okay, the whole understanding of free trade and developing free market economies everywhere, so China especially, was the notion that if you introduced a free market economy, that would lead to democracy in those countries. So there was this understanding politically and economically that if you opened things up to a free market system, that China and other places that were communist countries would eventually turn to becoming democratic countries, right? And that was a false belief, obviously, because even though China has really developed into a free market economy, they remain communist. They're not democratic, right? And so the whole notion politically in the US was, let's enhance or help the rest of the world develop a free market economy, and we're going to sacrifice as a result in terms of the trades, in hopes that would lead to other countries becoming democratic, right? And so this Oren Cass was explaining how that actually hasn't turned out to be the case. That opening up this free market economy and free trade between Canada, US, but particularly of China, has led to a decline in industrialization and factories and jobs in the US, and it hasn't led to China becoming, for example, a democratic country. And so Oren Cass was making the point that the reason why these tariffs are helpful for the US, he admits it's not good for Canada, but for the US, is because it will allow the US to become more independent, so not reliant on China or other places for imported goods or manufacturing and all those things. And he said, ultimately, for the short term, it's going to be very painful even in the States. But the long term is it will increase jobs, it will increase self-reliance, okay? And so that's sort of what the Buddha was talking about, right? Self-reliance. So is it possible for us to see a positive from all of these really scary ideas that, you listen to the news and it's like doom and gloom? And yes, I think overall it's going to be negative, and maybe the way he brought it in so suddenly rather than gradually is going to be more harmful, but I think that there is potential for positive, for us even. And that is if, there's this push now, after this tariff gone in, for us to buy Canadian. And I think it's a good thing that we should actually think about buying local and buying Canadian. So it means that we're going to have to give up our oranges, that we can't have navel oranges anymore unless someone decides to build a greenhouse with orange trees, right? But I also think that it's potentially a step towards becoming more independent, that we don't have to necessarily rely on the US as much. So I think it's important for us as Jodo Shinshu Buddhists to listen to the teachings of the Buddha. He said, be a lamp unto yourself. And he was meaning spiritually. He meant in terms of your spiritual growth, be a guide to yourself. But even in this economic situation, I think that there is a potential for us to see a positive in that it'll force us to become more self-reliant. And I don't think that that's a bad thing. I think that's actually potentially a positive thing that should come out of this. So I know it's difficult. Brenda and I came home for an event last night and we were watching the news, and it was kind of like, after watching the news, we could not go to sleep for 2 hours because we were so worried about things. So that's where I added this Dharma talk. So I think it's important for us to heed the words or listen to the words of the Buddha. As we remember the Buddha and his passing, and his infinite compassion for all beings, I hope we can strive to embody this quality of self-reliance in our own lives. But that also means that we should help to reach out to ease the suffering of others, nurturing peace within ourselves and in our communities. So if I can get you to please join me in Gassho as we say the Nembutsu. Namamidabutsu, 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 Namanda, Namanda. Sorry, that was a bit of a long-winded Dharma talk.
Thank you, Sensei. It's always great when the Dharma talk has direct, practical application to our daily lives. Now, we'll close this morning's service with the Gatha Ondoksan. Please rise if you are able. Our life is filled with warmth in sharing life with others. It is a simple truth to learn, but a difficult practice to fully realize. In personal life, it means to act by placing oneself in the position of another. In community life, it means to give service with joy and gratitude for the betterment of all. The practice of making others happy is based upon the clear understanding of life, which is oneness. In gratitude, let us realize this oneness of all life, the heart of which is compassion. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you. You may be seated. Does anyone have any announcements? Oh, Margaret. This is Margaret Tanaka.
Hi, everybody. I just wanted to make a quick reminder that we are still collecting both money and food for the Interfaith Food Bank until the end of this month. And then after the end of the month, we are going to calculate the amount that we've given, both in cash and in poundage of food, to the food bank, and the temple is going to write a check to match it. So you have just a couple more weeks to get your donations in for that particular project that we're doing. And certainly don't forget the food bank in March or April, or you're welcome to bring your donations by at, it's located on 3rd Avenue and 11th Street North. And just as a reminder, they do accept food, both perishable and non-perishable there. In exchange, you can receive a tax receipt of $3.58 a pound per pound of food that you drop off. Certainly throughout, anytime if you see me here, you can always drop me a check. I work there every Monday morning, and so your check will go in on the Monday mornings. And just keep us in mind as we head into spring. So thank you very much.
Oh, hi. Here comes Sylvia.
I'm just repeating a message about the free cycle table, which is in the back corner of the multi-purpose room. And because there's different people who attend here every Sunday, I just wanted to repeat the message that everybody is welcome to take a look at the free cycle table, and you are free to take whatever you like. Many of our temple members have been contributing, and it's been really kind of fun to see what comes and goes from the table. So make sure just to take a look and see if there's anything that might interest you.
And then, Val, I have an announcement. So end of the month, the Ikigomi Youth Group are having another fundraiser movie night. It's going to be a Studio Ghibli film again with Porco Rosso. And the main food of Porco Rosso is we're doing a little change this time, and we're doing spaghetti, salad, and garlic bread. So not Japanese this time, so we'll see how that goes. And then I think we do have a birthday in the Dharma room for one of the kids. I think it's Sage's birthday, Yusa, and he's 5 years old. So I think we have a birthday in the Dharma room.
Thanks, Gaiden. So when we get into the other room, we should sing Seiji. So just one more announcement. Don't forget to bring your home meals. Take your home meals home if you brought them. I really like what my mother-in-law did. Heidi put pictures of all of our 3 relatives who passed away. So I'd encourage people to act, because it's nice to be able to see pictures of the people who passed away as well as their home meals. So if you think about it, it's not a big deal. So we should do a quick meal meditation, if that's okay. So together in Gasho. We are grateful for this food we're about to partake, for all of the causes and conditions that have brought us together. We are particularly thankful to Toban 4 for preparing this food before us. May it help to nourish and sustain us. Nama Amida Butsu. Nama Amida Butsu. Nama Amida Butsu. Itadakimasu. Thanks very much, everybody.